Hello, good afternoon. My name is Julie Henderson, and I'm the Vice President of Philanthropy here at East Bay SPCA. I'm here with my very special guest, Juno, who is a puppy in our care who is eligible for foster, one of the many reasons why foster are very important to the work that we do here at East Bay SPCA. We very much appreciate you joining us this afternoon for our 2025 Lunch and Learn informational series. We're incredibly excited to have you here today to highlight our foster program and the impact fostering has on the adoptability and comfort of our shelter animals. I want to very briefly introduce you to Lindsay Stetson. She's our major gifts manager here at East Bay SPCA, and she's going to be helping me facilitate the webinar today. In addition, I'd like to introduce you to Joseph Romero. Joseph is our shelter medicine manager here at East Bay SPCA. He's been with us for 17 years, and he's a vital member of our team in shelter. With decades of experience in animal welfare, Joseph brings extensive knowledge and commitment to his role of ensuring the health and well-being of the animals under our care. It's my honor to call him my colleague, and we are incredibly grateful to have him here as a member of our East Bay SPCA team. Joseph's going to take us through a 20 to 25-minute presentation today with a special guest foster, Jacqueline, who will also be included in the presentation, after which time we are going to be answering questions. If you look at the bottom of your screen, you should see a Q&A button. Please type your questions throughout the presentation, and we'll get to them after the presentation so that you get your questions answered. There's also going to be a recording of this webinar that's going to be emailed out to anybody who registered, and it'll also be available on our website. Joseph, take it away.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone's having an amazing day and you're staying dry. I am Joseph Romero. I've been with East Bay SPCA for approximately the last 17 years, and I'm just really excited to share our foster program with each and every one of you. So let's get the ball rolling. We're very lucky to have an amazing shelter medicine foster team. Essentially, everyone on the team has a medical background, so they're able to provide top-notch medical care and advice to our foster homes. Among the team, we have one shelter veterinarian, we have 3 registered veterinarian technicians, and then 2 shelter medicine associates. As I mentioned, they've been with the organization for quite some time. I believe 2 of our RVTs have been with us for about 10 years. Our shelter veterinarian has been with us for about 4-ish or so, and then the rest of the team around 4 to 5 years. So they're all very experienced and very amazing at what they do. Some of the benefits of fostering. I mean, you look at it and you think it's an extremely fun experience, and it is, but it's also very beneficial to you in so many different ways. For those of you that are unable to own an animal for whatever reason, maybe it's your lifestyle, maybe you have housing restrictions, or maybe you have a significant other that's allergic to pets, you can foster some of these guys for a short time without any long-term commitment. It's also very emotionally rewarding. You get to experience some unconditional love from your foster pet, even if it is for a short time. And then finally, studies have really shown that spending time with animals reduces stress, anxiety, and depression. And these little ones can provide companionship and a sense of purpose, especially if you are someone that lives alone, but they're amazing all the way around. Some of the benefits for our animals: socialization. So fostering plays a huge role in an animal's socialization. It helps them to become more confident and adoptable. They are exposed to a variety of different environments within the home. And it helps them build helps them build confidence with those new experiences. Foster homes provide a very low pressure way for animals to meet different kinds of people, especially if you're fostering dogs. You'll be taking them out on walks and you'll encounter different types of children or people on bikes or just visitors in general. So it's able to help them with that socialization process there. It also gets some of them comfortable with their handling. Some of these shelter animals are a little bit nervous about being picked up. So going into foster care really helps on that aspect as well, especially for those of you that have ever seen any semi-feral kittens. These little ones, they do a lot of hissing. They might even do a little bit of spitting. But over the course of a couple of weeks, they start to learn how to trust people. And just through that general handling and the routine care. They go from a fearful little kitten to a kitten that is happy and thriving and just really playful and ready to find their forever home. It really makes a huge, huge difference. It also benefiting the adoptability aspect. So when an animal goes into foster care, you're able to provide a lot of valuable information that we wouldn't necessarily have in the shelter. So you're going to know exactly what they're like in a home setting. You're going to know if they have any fears or anxieties. And then you'll be able to help us actually match make that animal with the information that you provide with the perfect home. And hopefully it sticks and it becomes their forever home. So it's really, really amazing experience. Another benefit of fostering is it helps increase shelter space. So increasing shelter space equals saving lives. What we do is we go to a variety of different municipal shelters and we pull animals from them. So the more animals we're able to send out to foster care, the more animals we're able to pull from these overcrowded shelters, which will help reduce their euthanasia rate. We tend to think of foster homes as being small little satellite shelters. So the more animals that we're able to place in the foster care, the more we can the more that we can help at our shelter itself. And we can definitely focus on those tougher medical and behavioral cases with just the added space that we have. Another benefit is that it improves animals' health. As you know, fostering provides a quiet, low-stress environment where animals can relax. As most people know, stress tends to weaken your immune system in both humans and animals alike. And with added stress, you run into things like their wounds taking longer to heal or recovering a little bit longer for illnesses like an upper respiratory infection. So when they go into foster care, they just tend to bounce back a little bit faster. Another major benefit of the medical aspect is that it reduces the possibility of them contracting illnesses while in the shelter. As I'm sure you're aware, things like an upper respiratory infection or a cold can pass fairly quickly when animals are in close proximity. And the more animals that we get out to foster care, the less animals that we have in that close proximity. So it helps lower that as well. And then another aspect is it helps strengthen the animal advocacy. Fosters are amazing. We have a lot of great people out there that will post to Instagram or post to Facebook, whatever their social media is, and they will just spread the word about exactly how amazing their animal is. They'll be able to share any type of experience that they have. They also help break down stereotypes. A lot of people associate certain negative stereotypes with like bully breeds or with senior animals. And by going into foster care, and when the fosters share these stories, they actually debunk these myths by sharing their experiences and by increasing their chances for adoption. Different types of fostering. So we'll go over the basics. Essentially, one of the great things for some of our canines, especially if you don't have a lot of time, is to take animals out on field trips. So people will take dogs out on field trips for anywhere to 2 to 4 hours, and they'll usually take them either out on a nice little hike. If you need a jogging partner, we have a lot of active dogs that would love to accompany you. We have other people that will do sort of casual field trips. They'll go to the local coffee shops or go to a local brewery and just bring their foster animal with them. It's great because it, once again, it exposes them to a lot of things that they normally wouldn't experience while in the shelter. And if you're looking for a quick foster fix, like I said, 2 to 4 hours, you swing by, pick up an animal, and they absolutely love it. The one thing that we do ask is to steer clear of dog parks. Main reason is we're never really sure about other animals there, so we want to make sure that you have a safe and the animal has a safe experience. So if you need a quick little foster fix, I highly recommend field trips. Another short-term foster are sleepovers. So we have a lot of dogs, once again, that we'd love to send out to foster care, even if it's for a short time, maybe 1 or 2 days. They get a nice little break from shelter life, and you get to experience how amazing they are. We take all of that information once again. We provide that to our adopters, and hopefully we're able to match make a perfect fit. It's just nice to have that extra bit of information that we can pass along to adopters, so that way they know exactly what to expect. They know if they do well with children or if they do well with other animals. So sleepovers are a great way to get a little bit of a quicker foster fix. And then we also have longer term fosters. So longer term fostering is going to be fostering for 2 weeks or more. Most typically, we send kittens out to foster. So we probably send out about 700 or so kittens a year. These kittens are right around the 5-week mark, and they'll usually go to foster until they're able to be altered, which is usually around 8 weeks old. So they'll spend about 3 weeks in foster care. Also, another great thing, mothers with either kittens or puppies, once again, they could be anywhere from newborns, which would be probably about an 8-week foster. It's great to just see a lot of the experiences that these animals go through. You get to see mom caring for the little ones. You get to see these little ones start to learn how to walk and just sort of grow up to be little sentient beings. It's a really, really cool thing. Neonates. So we really, really, really appreciate our neonate fosters out there. A neonate essentially is an animal that has been orphaned and it's unable to care for itself. Usually these little ones could be anywhere from a day old to usually we say neonates up until about 4 to 5 weeks old. But little ones, they're born blind, they're born deaf, they cannot regulate their body temperature. So they really rely on you to offer all the things that mom normally would. So you're going to feed them every few hours. You're going to help them go to the bathroom. So they need to be stimulated to go to the bathroom. It's really great to see some of the milestones that these little ones tend to hit. So right around day 7 to 10, you'll notice that their eyes start to open and they'll start to develop their hearing. Right around day 14, they'll start doing a little wiggling, trying to do some crawling. Right around week 3 is when they'll start to stand and they'll start to run around. It's really awesome to see how they just go from little defenseless creatures to little kittens or puppies with minds of their own. And then finally, around week 4 to 5, you'll start to wean them off of the bottle and then onto a slurry sort of concoction, sort of like an oatmeal type consistency. And that's when they start learning to eat on their own. And then finally, around week 6, they'll begin to recognize their names and some basic commands. But once again, it's just awesome just to see them go through all those different stages of life. If you have a lot of time on your hands, then I definitely recommend trying to foster a neonate. It's a lot of hard work, but it's a very, very rewarding experience. Medical cases. So a lot of these animals will come in, as I mentioned a little earlier, sometimes they'll come in with like an upper respiratory infection or kennel cough, which is essentially a cold for a cat or for a dog. They'll recover a lot faster in foster care than they will at the shelter. Other common things that we send out to foster as far as medical cases go, maybe surgery recovery. So they might have had like an amputation or they might have had a mass removal. And then we'll send them out to foster care to recover. Also, another thing that we get quite often are fractures or soft tissue damage. So over the course of a few weeks, they'll go from, being a little bit immobile to right back to where they started from. And then also skin conditions is another things we might run across. Some of the slides that are showing, there are, like that slide, there is a cat with a ringworm. So ringworm is a fungus that you treat with a medication and a lime sulfur dip. And over the course of about 4 to 6 weeks, it goes from the way that one animal looked to just becoming just like any other animal, just looking amazing and doing great. That photo right there is a dog that has extreme Demodex. Demodex is a mite, and some dogs that have compromised immune systems, the mites start to grow uncontrollably. The mites are not contagious to you or to other animals. It stays specific to that one animal. So that one dog that they showed, it looked like that in about 2 months, 2.5 months later, it went from that to just looking like a completely normal animal, hair completely regrown. So once again, sometimes a lot of these medical cases look a lot worse than they are. A lot of these animals just need a little bit of TLC, and they go from injured to perfect just over the course of a few weeks. And then we have behavioral cases. So we are lucky to have an amazing behavior and training department, and they help through a variety of different ways. For kittens that come in that are a little hissy, we have a program called Hisses to Kisses, and you go from a little hissy spitty kitten. It's really funny. Some of the people, when they start working at animal shelters, they will experience a little kitten that's maybe like 3 weeks old, and they'll go to pet them, and the kitten will give a little hiss and a little spit, and they'll jump back. And the kitten's literally maybe about 3/4 of a pound, not going to do anything, just trying to scare you. But we send those little ones out to foster care where they're able to work with them and get them from shy, hissy kittens to just loving little ones. And then also dogs, sending dogs out for a variety of reasons. They might be a little bit shy. They might be rowdy and jumpy. They might not have some of these animals that come in, they come in stray. They might have lived in the backyard for quite some time, so they need time to acclimate into a home. So sending them out to foster care is an amazing way to get them from that rowdy, jumpy dog to a dog that's well behaved. And once again, you work directly with our behavior and training department to give you the tools necessary to make that change for these animals. And then we also have a hold for home program. So as a hold for home foster parent, you'll care for the pet when its owner is experiencing a hardship. We don't want to have families choose between safety or health or the ability to keep their pets. So our goal is to provide this service for their animals so they can be reunited once their living situation becomes stabilized. It's really rewarding to the people that actually help these hold for home animals, because you know that they have a loving home out there and they're just experiencing difficulties. So you're going to help them get through those difficulties and reunite them with their animal. Hold for home cases can go anywhere from 2 weeks to a month. So once again, if you have a place in your heart, we'd love to send some of these animals with you. Typically, they are dogs, some cats, and once again, they're just looking for a place just to relax and lay their head while their owners recoup. As far as what we provide to you, we provide everything that you need for your foster animal. So that means all the supplies, you'll get all the food, you'll get all the toys, you'll get crates, you'll get bedding. If you're taking a cat, you'll get litter. If you're taking a puppy or a dog, we can send you home with puppy pads or exercise pens. Essentially everything that you need to care for this animal, we're going to provide for you. We also provide behavioral support, as I mentioned a little earlier. So you'll have access to our trainers and our behavior specialists that'll offer guidance. And we also have a lot of online resources. So we have a lot of training webinars that'll walk you through, once again, our Hisses to Kisses for the little kittens. We have programs specifically for the rowdy, jumpy dogs, also for the shy dogs. So a lot of that's on video. You can watch it at your own leisure. And then when you have a little bit more detailed of a question, you reach out to our behavior and training team, and they're able to offer you that support. And then also, finally, we provide all the medical care that you will need for your animal. Once again, we have an amazing shelter veterinarian, amazing shelter medicine team / foster team, and they will take care of everything that your animal needs, whether it be routine checkups, vaccinations, medications, flea treatments, essentially anything that you need for your foster animal, we will provide you. How to become a foster. So luckily everything is online. It's super easy for you to take care of everything. So we have a foster interest form that is located at www.eastbayspca.org. And it's a quick online interest form. You fill it out. It's maybe like 3 or 4 minutes long. You submit that, and then you're taken to our online orientation. Once again, it's a course that can be taken 24/7. It's approximately 45 minutes long. It'll go over the ins and outs of foster care and everything that you need to know. And once you complete that, we have all of our animals listed on our Trello board, which, as you can see, has a few different columns here. There's probably about 8 or 10 columns, but I couldn't get a lot on the slide. And it goes over animals that are available for either field trips or hold for home program, or just animals that need medical care. Essentially every animal that's available for foster will be on this page. And then if you were to click on one of these cards, like this one that's the top one here, for Mila, you click on that card, and then all of a sudden you get this quick little synopsis. And that goes over all the information that you need to make an informed decision to see if Mila is going to be a good fit in your home. And essentially, it goes over her age, her breed, her weight, and then some of the information that we've learned about her in the shelter, whether she does well with children, whether she's on medication, if she needs a short field trip, if she needs a longer sleepover or an extended foster stay. All that information is on there. Once you see that Mila is a good fit, or if you find another animal that's a good fit, there's a little tab that you click on that automatically sends us an email. You let us know that you're interested in Mila, and then if we'll go over any other additional details that you may need. And then as far as scheduling goes, once again, everything's online. So it makes it quick and easy. No fuss, no muss. If you need to schedule a pickup, if you need to schedule a drop off, if you need to schedule a supply pickup for food or medication, anything along those lines, you go ahead and go online, type in exactly what you need, and then we schedule that appointment for you. So we try to make things as simple as possible and easy as possible for everyone out there. We want to make it a very positive experience for you. We have a lot of amazing animals here that we just want to get into foster care for a variety of different reasons, for you and for us and for the animals. So if you are interested in fostering, we really would love to have you. We have once again, a lot of great animals that are just looking for a little bit of chance to get out there. The information that we gain from these sleepovers, these field trips, these extended foster stays, it's really invaluable. And hopefully we look forward to you joining our foster team and see if we can get you matched with an animal. Next up, I'd like to introduce one of our amazing fosters, Jackie. She is going to go over some of her foster cases that she had, and hopefully share with you what it is like to be a foster parent. So I'm going to turn this over to you, Jackie.
Awesome. Thanks, Joseph. Good afternoon, everybody. As Joseph mentioned, my name is Jackie. I am actually an East Bay SPCA volunteer. I've volunteered with the organization for about 5.5 years now. And then I started fostering about 4 years ago, and have had some amazing foster animals come through my home. Let's see, who was our first case? So I've had a variety. I guess I'll back up a step. So I specialize in cats and kittens, mostly fosters, and I mostly take on medical cases and behavioral cases. Some of the examples that Joseph already went over. And Flamingo was actually a perfect case of actually both. So he was I want to say about an 8-week-old kitten, came in with some sort of injury to his leg. We weren't sure exactly what was going on, but he needed a little bit of TLC, some cage rest, and some exercises. And he was also very shy and shut down. And so I was able to work with him over a couple weeks, get him out of his shell, and then also able to do some like physical therapy and some other medical stuff to get his leg working the way it should be. And he was able to go back and be a perfectly healthy, happy kitten. By the time he left my house, he was playing with toys. He was running around like a little crazy thing. It was really fun to see. Let's see who's next. Grilled cheese. So grilled cheese was, I would say this is a pretty typical upper respiratory infection / conjunctivitis case. Although she's probably one of the worst I've seen come through the shelter in a while. She came to me looking like that, very crusty eyes, could barely open her eyes, very sneezy. Yeah, it was, she looks very sad. And but she, again, we did some medicine, gave her some TLC. We had to do a little bit more extensive treatment for her. She had some breathing problems. So we did some steam treatments and things like that to try to get things loosened up. And after a couple weeks, that's what she looked like. Again, a very normal, healthy, cute kitten. She was a little bit of a maniac running around by the time she left my house. So that's a good sign that they're healthy and feeling great. Luckily, she was very sweet to begin with, so I didn't have to do a whole lot on the behavioral side. But this was probably one of the more extensive medical ones. And then Spruce was another medical case and another case of a very shy kitten. So he had something called Kaliki virus, which basically gives mouth sores, or it makes mouth sores in kittens and cats' mouths. It's very painful, and it makes it difficult for them to eat, to groom themselves, and I'm sure they feel absolutely miserable. And so he came kind of, you can't really see it in this picture, but he came a little bit dirty and crusty, just because he wasn't able to clean himself and he was drooling and things like that. And we had to do some creative things to get him to eat and help him feel better. But he was very shy, and I think it was just, partially because he wasn't feeling well. And by the end, we were able to get his mouth to heal. And he was a very, very beautiful kitten. Once we were able to get him to groom himself, he was very fluffy and very, very sweet. He used to let me hold him like a baby, which was very, very, very fun. That doesn't work for every kitten, so you have to kind of work with the cats to make sure that they're comfortable with how they're being held. And then I think my last case, so this was one of my most recent medical cases, and this was probably the toughest medical foster case I've actually ever dealt with. So I had a litter of 6 kittens, a little bit less than a year ago. And one of them ended up testing positive for Pan-Luke, which is often a very deadly virus to small kittens. And if you guys are familiar with parvo, it's the equivalent basically of parvo, but for cats. And there is no cure for it. You just have to do supportive treatment. So for this case, we had one kitten that was very, very sick, and I had to do a lot of fluids. So I had to do sub-Q fluids, which is injecting fluids with a needle to make sure she was staying hydrated. I had to try to entice her to eat, try different foods, use an appetite stimulator, and make sure she was holding her temperature, and just support her how she needed. Luckily, the other 5 kittens didn't get as sick, so I could kind of focus on the one kitten that did test positive and got really sick. And the good news is all 6 kittens survived. And that's 2 of them after they cleared the virus, got a little bit bigger and healthier. And yeah, they all survived and made it back to the shelter and got adopted. 3 actually by friends of mine, which was very exciting to see. That's probably one of the more extreme cases that you would get as a foster. And the great news is, as Joseph has mentioned a couple of times, the shelter med staff are fantastic and they're very supportive, and they will make sure that you are comfortable with the situation. If it's a medical case, behavioral case, whatever, and support you how you need, and make sure that you are comfortable with whatever the situation is. And that was the case here. They checked in with me frequently, and supported me how I needed during that we'll say extreme case. But most of the time it's, upper respiratory infection, some behavioral, hissy, spitty kittens, things like that. But every once in a while we get a new case that is kind of fun to learn and adapt to. So I think that's all for mine.
Yeah, thank you, Jackie. We really appreciate all the hard work that Jackie's done, as well as all of the other foster homes that we have. We couldn't do what we do without people like Jackie. Once again, if you're interested in fostering, we would really love to hear from you. Because we've got a lot of great animals that we'd love to put in your home.
Thanks so much, Joseph and Jackie. Thank you for all you do. That's amazing. And I know that's just a taste of some of the animals that you've helped to save. So we're really appreciative of you and all of our fosters, because as Joseph said, obviously, they really help us save our animals and get them in homes. So we have quite a few questions. So we're going to take some Q&A here for a little while. If you have any questions, feel free to type them into the Q&A section at the bottom of your screen. We're going to get through as many as we can here for about the next 20 minutes, and we'll start. So Joseph, can I foster if I have my own pets, and how do you ensure a good match?
Absolutely. A lot of our foster homes have pets currently. Usually what we do is, if you're taking home a dog and you have a dog in the house, we'll do a dog meet just to make sure that everyone's going to get along well. And then it's a little bit more difficult when it comes to cats. Main reason is we don't test our dogs with cats. We wouldn't really want to stress our cats out like that. So we always ask that you keep your animals separate if possible. And then if for whatever reason you need any supplies, we can lend you things like exercise pens, which are essentially like little 4-foot tall, large octagon cages, so to speak. They don't really have a top. They're just sort of like gated, like it's sort of like a baby gate sort of thing. So that way you can keep your animals separate. But just because you have animals doesn't mean that we would rule you out as a foster.
Great. So how long is the typical foster commitment?
It really depends. I mean, it can go anywhere from a week to 2 weeks, or it can go as long as 2 months. Like I said a little earlier, the majority of animals that we're sending out to foster care, it's usually because they're not large enough to go to be altered yet, so they're not old enough to become spayed or neutered. For those guys, it's usually around 2 to 3 weeks. But if you take on a mother with newborns, you're looking at about 8 weeks. If for any reason it's not working out, though, you just let us know and we take the animal back right away.
Yes. So along those lines, what happens if the foster animal just isn't adjusting well to my home?
We touch base with you and get all the information why it's not working out. Is it a behavioral concern? If it is, we can put you in touch with our behavior and training team. Or if it's just not a right fit for whatever reason, we're more than happy to take the animal back. And then we just post them right up for foster again. And then another amazing foster hopefully will step up and take that animal home. But there's never any pressure for you to keep the animal. If it's not working, then just let us know.
And do you offer training or resources for new foster parents?
We do. So we have a extensive medical webinar that you can take if you want to take home medical cases. Also, we have that initial foster orientation that goes over the ins and outs, and it covers a lot of the basics that you'll need. And then once again, I mentioned a little earlier, our behavior and training team, they're able to offer either A, webinars, or B, over the phone or even in-person trainings, depending on exactly what's going on with the animal. Once again, we're trying to do what's best for the animal as well as what's best for you. We want to make sure that you have all the support that you need, because if you feel like you're supported, and if you are supported, you're going to be more likely to foster. And then once we get your skills up, we can see about sending home maybe a little bit more of a complex case. We love to watch our foster families grow.
Is it hard for your existing animals to adjust to the flow of incoming and outgoing animals?
It is to an extent, depending on the animals that are coming in. Some of them may be a little bit on the loud side, especially when it comes to dogs, a lot of barky dogs. So a lot of the animals here, which is one of the main reasons why we're trying to get them out to foster care, is we just want to lower their stress level. I mean, we have an amazing animal shelter here, but even the most amazing shelter, it's going to be a little bit stressful just because we have a lot of animals coming in and out of our doors. And obviously the animal would be in a much better of an environment in a foster home where you're able to care for them 24 hours a day. We do have to go home at night. So unfortunately we can't look after them late night.
When you're fostering an animal, are you able to leave them, or do you have to work from home or have support? How does that work?
No, many of these foster animals can stay home perfectly fine by themselves. Depending on the age of the animal, you may need to check in on them during the day. So if you say you take home a 5 or 6 week old kitten, they probably should be getting that lunchtime meal. So you might want to either stop by and just drop it off for them. Same thing with puppies. But when it comes to adults, or if you take home a mother with kittens, or if you take home a mother with puppies, you essentially leave the food out for them. They're able to take care of everything. And then when you come home, you just give them all the socialization and care that you need. You definitely don't need to work from home to foster for us.
This is kind of a funny question. Do you find odors an issue in the home? And if so, do you have a favorite product or hack for dealing with this when you're fostering puppies and kittens?
That was odors?
Yeah.
Yeah, there are a few different cleanup products that you can use. You usually want to use something that's an enzyme cleaner, just to make sure that it's out of the environment completely. What's funny, well, obviously, as most people know, animals' senses are a lot keener than ours. So if you use an enzyme cleaner on, let's say they have an accident, if you don't use an enzyme cleaner, that scent's going to stay in the area, even if you can't smell it, the animals can. But with an enzyme cleaner, it'll actually take care of that. So that way you don't have to worry about repeat accidents. But yeah, as far as a favorite anti-odor product, I don't really have one, but I'm sure there are a lot of great ones out there.
Will foster animals be microchipped and come with collars?
So we send out our dogs with collars and tags. The animal may be microchipped depending on if it's already went to spay-neuter surgery. We try to be as humane as possible and not microchip them without anesthesia. I'm not sure if any of you have seen a microchip needle. It's a fairly large gauge. So usually the easiest way for us to do it is when the animal's under, so that way it gives them the least amount of discomfort. But animals always go out with collars and leashes, adult dogs. Our cats, not necessarily, in our kittens, obviously not, but we try to make sure that everything is going to be safe in case if anyone gets out. So once again, most of them have IDs.
I have young kids at home. How does that factor into my ability to foster? And how do we know we'll get a foster that is okay with kids?
It depends on what you're looking for. We try to put requirements or recommendations on a lot of our dogs. So if we have let's say you have a small child that's like 2 years old, and then we have a large dog that does he's really rowdy, really jumpy, we probably wouldn't do that match because he'll probably be bullying over your child. That's the last thing we want to do. So we try to match make you with a smaller animal. Kittens are always great, especially those little friendly ones. And then once again, puppies, you can't go wrong with puppies. So we definitely have an animal for everyone out there, whether you have small children or children in elementary school and up. So regardless, we'll be able to find you something.
Do both Oakland and Dublin facilities have field trip programs for dogs?
Yes, they do. So at our Oakland campus, luckily, we have a lot larger of a staff and we have a lot larger pool of animals. So for those field trips out there, they're usually 7 days a week and a variety of times throughout the day. It could be as early as 8:30 in the morning to about as late as around 2 p.m. in the afternoon. At our Dublin campus, just because we have a little bit less of an animal pool to choose from, we usually set 2 appointments a day. They're usually around 11:30ish and another one around 2 o'clock. But yeah, field trips, both locations, 7 days a week.
Do you reach out to foster volunteers asking for help with particular animals, or is it the foster proactively requesting animals when they want to foster?
Both. So we'll list all of our animals on a Trello board, as I mentioned. And then also you are able to foster any adult dog or a cat that's been at our shelter that's available for adoption. We tend not to send the puppies that are available because those guys usually get adopted fairly quickly. But we really want to be able to give these animals just a little break from shelter life. I'm sorry, I lost track of the question.
Yeah, so do we reach out to the fosters like with specific animals needed, or do they have to proactively say they are interested in fostering a certain animal from the Trello board?
Got it. We also send out foster blasts. So in addition to the Trello board, we'll send out foster blasts when we have animals that we really need to get out to foster care. They might be deteriorating just because of shelter life, or they may be like a medical case that just came through our doors. Since we have a full service veterinary clinic, sometimes we have people that'll bring strays that have maybe been hit by cars. They might have like fractured pelvises or broken limbs. So those guys, we want to be a lot more proactive. So we will reach out to foster homes, and especially if we know that they have had experience, like with Jackie, when we get in an extreme medical case, we know that she's one of our go-to fosters. So we contact her directly and say, hey, we just got a kitten in that has X, Y, and Z. Are you able to care for them? And then once again, we reach out to our foster homes. We try to play it both ways, once again, letting them take the lead if there's anyone, or if they have time to take home an animal. And then also at the same time, we'll send out foster blasts from time to time as far as specific animals.
Is it hard on the animal to be returned to the shelter?
Not really. I mean, any time out of the shelter is going to be a good time for them. Once again, with field trips, they may only be like 2 hours in duration, but you're able to get an animal out to an environment and just let their stress levels deteriorate. I mean, we have animals that a lot of our working breeds, they have a lot of energy. And if you take them out on a long hike, even if it's just for a couple of hours, they're going to come back a little sleepy, and just, be a lot more relaxed in the kennel. And same thing with the sleepovers and the longer term fosters. Just able to get that stress level down for them going out, and then just gathering that valuable information that we can pass along to adopters and hopefully make that matchmaking a little bit easier.
Will all animals that are available for foster be on flea and tick medication?
Any animal over 6 weeks of age, yes. Animals that are under 6 weeks, it's not medically sound for them to be, because essentially a flea and tick medication, it's a pesticide. So the last thing you want to do is put that on an animal that's too young. But once their immune system starts to become a little bit more robust, then we're able to put them on that medication. So like I said, anything over 6 weeks of age will be on flea meds, flea and tick meds. Anything under that age, if you're taking home a neonate, we highly recommend giving them a little bath in like Dawn dish soap. It's really, really gentle to their skin and to their fur, and then it usually tends to take care of that. We'll also send you home with any type of flea combs or anything like that. So when you do bathe them, it's just a little bit easier to make sure that there's nothing tagging along.
And then do you prefer that dogs stay in a crate when left alone, or is that not suggested while you're fostering?
It depends on the dog. Some of the dogs, if they have any type of like separation issues, they probably would be a little bit safer in a crate. We also, as I mentioned a little earlier, we can send you home with like exercise pens, which are like a little octagon wired area that will keep them secluded and unable to get out of that area. But it really depends on the animal.
When on a field trip hike with a dog, what happens if the dogs get some tag-along ticks? Would we need to reach out to a vet to check for bites?
You just let us know, and then we'll examine the animal and remove those ticks, and then get them on any type of medication that they may need to make sure that they're not going to get any type of infection. Or if you're in an area that is frequented by ticks, like if you're going through like tall grasses or anything like that, just let us know, and we'll just take a quick look at the animal, make sure that there's no tag-alongs.
How do I sign up to be a foster or get back on the notification list if I have fostered before?
All you need to do is just shoot us an email. So if you want to shoot an email to sheltermed@eastbayspca.org, we just let us know, hey, I used to foster for you, really want to start fostering again, and then we'll give you all the information you need. We'll send you the link to the Trello board, or you can just visit our website, eastbayspca.org/foster. And towards the bottom, there'll be a little link that says animals available for foster. That's our Trello board. You click on that link, and it'll take you to those cards that I showed a little earlier in the presentation. You click on one of those cards, and it'll have a link to our email address as well, so you can contact us that way.
Great. And we'll also follow up in an email once we have the recording with all of this information, with links on how to sign up and the email addresses and all that stuff for everyone in attendance. So can a dog in foster be brought to the shelter during a work week if leaving them home alone is too long?
Yeah, I mean, we can always make arrangements for some of our foster animals as well. We like to just send them out for a short period of time. So it'd be more like a couple of sleepovers sort of thing. If you wanted to drop off early in the morning and pick up later that afternoon, we could try to arrange that as well. We're on site from about 7:30 to 5. So depending on what your work schedule looks like, we can either figure something out, or once again, if you just take them over the weekends, that'd be amazing too.
If I have other animals in the home, how much space do you recommend for foster cats? And do you just need a separate room for cats being fostered, or do you recommend more space?
Yeah, separate room is great. I mean, a lot of fosters just keep their foster kittens, especially, they might have like a litter of 5 or 6 kittens in like a spare restroom. It's really easy to clean. It's tile, obviously. And that's usually enough space for those little ones to just have fun and explore, as long as you're going in there on a regular basis. And you always want to make sure that you're kitten proofing it as well. For adult cats, yeah, they could probably use a room to themselves, but they don't really need a lot more space than that.
This is a fun one because I've definitely been a foster fail in my experience, but what percentage of foster parents end up adopting the animal?
Usually it's the newer foster parents. So for that, it's fairly high. I'd say maybe about 8 to 10% of the new foster parents over the course of the first, like, let's say 6 months of fostering, they'll tend to find that animal that they just can't live without, which is amazing. I've done that 3 times, I believe, so far. So it happens. And it's, you know it when you find it. So when you find that animal that you feel that bond with, just, let us know. And obviously, since you're the foster parent, you have first dibs, so to speak, on the animal. So we put a little note in our computer system saying that you're going to be adopting the animal once the animal is ready for adoption, and then we make that happen.
Yeah, one thing to note too, if that's a concern for anyone, a huge way to make sure that that doesn't happen but make a big difference is the Hold for Home foster program, because you are, temporarily taking in someone's animal who needs assistance. So it's a great way to help with ensuring that you're not going to end up with at least one more animal in your house. So that's something to consider. That's actually all the questions that we have. Joseph, anything in closing you'd like to say?
No, thank you for attending. Really appreciate it. And hopefully we have been able to convince you to foster for us, and we would really love to hear from you. We have a lot of great animals that we'd love to get in your home. So just reach out and we'll take it from there.
Great. Well, on behalf of all of us at East Bay SPCA, thank you so much for joining us today. Our fosters are vital to ensure that we can continue to do the work we are doing in the community with adoptable animals. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. There's going to be a follow-up email with a recording, as well as links to all of the information Joseph shared. Joseph and Jackie, thank you again. And thank you to all of you. We appreciate you joining us today, and have a lovely afternoon.
Bye. Take care.